So as you can see, far from observing DNA formed naturally through unguided processes in the lab, what we do observe is quite the opposite. We observe that DNA is incredibly specified. It must have originated from an intelligent source. In fact, the only current reason one would possibly have to reject this conclusion isn't a scientifically based observation, but rather it's a personal discomfort for its ramifications. A truly honest examination of the evidence seems to scream undeniably the need for an intelligent source for all life. So if the observable evidence shows that the universe and life must be the product of an infinite, intelligent source, what does this all mean? It means the evidence that we observe cries out that there is a God. There is a God. It seems logical that at some point in history, he would have communicated with mankind, possibly through one of the world's current religions.
So all of this leaves us with a completely new question. With all the hundreds of the religions in the world that are completely diametrically opposed to one another, how could we possibly know which religion God has chosen to speak to mankind through? Well, logically, a divine creator of the entire universe and of life must possess great wisdom and knowledge. He must be able to interact with his people in a way that he's all present. He must know the future from the past. He must be all-powerful God. So there's a simple 4-point step that we could use to test a religion and see if it's truly from a divine creator or not. Number one is history. If the prophet claiming to be from God or the piece of writing claiming to be divinely inspired, if it disagrees with known historical facts, then it can't be from a divine creator.
For example, the Muslim Quran attributes false speeches to people such as Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Noah, Moses, Mary, and even Jesus. It has them using words like Muslim and Islam, words which would not even exist until much later in the 6th century AD. The Quran has the Egyptian pharaoh threatening to use crucifixion during the time of Moses. However, archaeology doesn't show the first historical record of crucifixion in existence until about 519 BC, when Darius I, king of Persia, crucified 3,000 political opponents in Babylon. Moses lived more than 7 centuries before crucifixion was ever even invented.
Number 2 is science. If the prophet of God, claiming to be divinely inspired, or the piece of writing claiming to be divinely inspired from an all-knowing God, if it disagrees with known observable scientific facts, then we know that that religion cannot possibly be from an all-knowing divine creator.
Before we look at examples of some religions that fail the test, I think that it's important to point something out here. We want to try to give all of the religions the benefit of the doubt. So if the text makes a claim that we can clearly see defies the laws of physics or science, however, it also clearly states that it was done by the miraculous hand of God, then we can't disqualify the religion based on that particular text. It's not a disqualifier. And this is because we logically would know that a supreme being who's all-powerful would have the ability to defy the laws of physics and science as we understand them. In order to be a true disqualifier, it must make statements presented as a matter of fact. Statements that we can demonstrate scientifically couldn't possibly be true. And the statements must be presented in a way that they are supposedly direct revelation from the hand of God. For example, the Book of Mormon, supposedly handed to us by the hand of God through the form of golden plates, plates which were translated by Mormon founder and prophet Joseph Smith. In the Book of Mormon, we simply find many stories that completely defy the laws of science. There's a story of a man, after having been decapitated, is able to somehow transfer thought to his severed body and rise up onto his hands in a coordinated effort. Also, in Mormon church records, we find several early accounts of how Joseph Smith prophesied by the hand of God that the moon was inhabited with human life, something we just know scientifically is not true.
Number 3 is contradiction. In the law of contradiction, it says that A cannot be both A and non-A at the same time, place, and manner. So if the prophet of God or the piece of writing claiming to be divinely inspired makes one statement in one passage and it completely contradicts it in another, then we know that that piece of writing or prophet cannot truly be from the divine creator of the universe.
An example of this can be seen in the Muslim Quran. In Surah 7, we're told that Allah created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. However, in Surah 41, we're told that he did it in 8 days. A clear and obvious contradiction.
And number 4 is prophecy. This one's the icing on the cake for me. If a divine creator knows the future, then he's going to be 100% correct on everything he predicts. So if a prophet or a piece of writing claiming to be divinely inspired from God makes a prediction and it doesn't come to pass, then we know that religion couldn't possibly be from the divine creator of the universe.
A good example of this can be found in the Jehovah's Witnesses and their Watchtower scripture studies, clearly proclaiming their teachings to be prophetic in nature and equal to those of the prophet Ezekiel, and also endorsing every issue since 1879. They have made many false predictions over the years. In 1886, they prophesied that the Civil War was actually the battle leading up to the return of Christ and the end of the world told about in the Bible. They predicted the battle's end to be 1914. And in 1918, they said that all other churches were going to be destroyed with the exception of theirs by the hand of God. In 1925, God was supposed to raise up Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob bodily for the entire world to see. And in 1974, they actually encouraged their people to sell their homes and property and give their money to the organization in the expectation of Christ's return in 1975.